Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Adapted Life podcast. I just want to say Happy New Year. It is now 2023, and we are rolling into it. I hope everybody had a really beautiful holiday season in whatever way that you celebrate. And a Happy New Year kind of a thing. I just want to do sort of a general review, kind of taking a look back real quick and kind of taking stock of what I did. This is going to be my season 2 first episode. But in the first 20 episodes, I did share with listeners lots of details about what my life is like as a caregiver to my 25-year-old disabled son, and a lot of things that have happened along the way. And it's been quite an interesting journey so far. So yeah, I talked about the challenges, and I did share in many of the episodes some stories and some, situations that are very frustrating and that, many of us are dealing with. But then I also shared some of the tools that I've started to use to really manifest abundance and resilience in my own life, and that have helped me to kind of get to where I am today. And I'm still on this journey of discovery in light of being a caregiver. So everything is always a little bit raw and real with me, because it has to be. I mean, let's face it, I do my podcast and my YouTube channel, and I do it when I can, because there are many times when I'm not able to, because remember, I'm also still a caregiver. I'm not getting nearly enough help from the nursing agency that is supposed to be helping with Daniel's care. So I juggle back and forth between my very exciting creative projects, and then also I could be, doing medical care for my son downstairs. So that's what makes it really interesting, is that I just want people to know that I'm in the trenches, and yet I'm still trying to find a purpose from all of this, beyond the obvious, right? So I often tell people sometimes, this is how I feel, that I live on this remote island, or maybe I live on another planet. Sometimes I look at my life, especially at the holidays, because you're sort of exposed to people in a different way, and you see what people are doing for their breaks and where they're going. I look at other people and I'm like, I really feel like another type of human being. There's so many things that we can't do easily. I mean, it's basically everything. I mean, everything depends on Daniel's health and Daniel's transportation and Daniel's ability to maintain a certain amount of time in his wheelchair, and all of these things, and accessibility, and is the stupid wheelchair van running, is his wheelchair broken, I don't know, all these different things. So a lot of times we can't just run out to go see the Nutcracker, or hop on a train to go see the tree in the city, and everything is just a big challenge. That's just one little example. Even holidays at people's homes, it's very difficult. Most people don't have accessible homes the way that we need them. So we are really kind of stuck here. And then it gets lonely because, people don't always want to come to your house all the time. So I have to kind of be careful not to get too caught up in what I can't do and focus on what we can do. And, we create our own Hasselberger type of traditions, and it has to be okay. So sacrifice is really this big main ingredient, you guys. Sacrifice for all these people who are in their homes caring for a loved one. They have sacrificed their careers, their financial stability, their sleep, their independence, being able to go anywhere, having any kind of schedule that sticks, and so much more. And yet here we are, so many of us who have a loved one that we are caring for in our homes, living what I call this adapted life, right? On this, I don't know, what sometimes feels this isolated planet. It especially now that Daniel's older and out of the school system, it just feels kind of strange sometimes. But in a sense, I guess we become disabled ourselves from like mainstream normal society stuff. Like, I can see just by being on social media the normal thing that people post about. Oh, we went here, we did this, we had this tradition, we went skiing, we went on vacation, I don't know, all these different activities, and we had these people came over and they have massive parties, and I don't know, it's a different type of a world. So in order to do anything, even to go to a grocery store, us meaning we are disabled in the sense that we also rely on caregiver to allow us to function. So, and by function, I mean take a half an hour to go to the store or to CVS to pick up medicine. So sometimes you just can't. You just gotta kind of have to wait until you can figure out, when your husband's done from work or someone can come over or whatever. But when your person that you love and you're caring for is medically complex and you need a nurse with medical training, it takes everything up a notch, a big one. So yeah, this is a life ride, or a ride for sure. We go up, we go down, sudden drops, right? Like those roller coasters that just like take you way up. I love roller coasters. I go on all of them whenever I can. I'm crazy for them. So, and then all of a sudden it just drops you, right? And you're exhilarated. And it's like, so you have really happy times and exhilaration. And then you have really intense terror when things don't go well. And you're afraid, like when he's not breathing or he's having a seizure and you haven't seen one and you have to give medicine. And is it going to stop his breathing? And you got to call the ambulance. Anyway, we deal with all kinds of things. And most of them we don't necessarily know what to do with. So Henry, pardon me, Henry is chewing on paper towels. Henry, I have a naughty dog. Okay, I'm back. He's a naughty. So anyways, oh, my adapted life. Anyway, I've been meditating now pretty much every single day for almost 2 years. And what I'm learning about myself has helped me to manifest abundance out of kind of some of the most difficult times. Creativity is a gift that I cherish, and I find myself expanding, expressing, and developing more and more and more. Or really, I just stay grounded and I stay grateful and open to what the universe is showing me, or I listen to my intuition. I could look at it that way. But I try to share the present moment and the present joys with Daniel when he's receptive, which isn't all the time. And sometimes it takes a little work to know when that's going to come in and out, because it wavers his ability to like really engage. So during all that stuff, that I talk about with the art shop, that's when I really learned that I also enjoy like painting and getting lost in the colors. And I rediscovered my musical talents again. And I have my flute here, and I played when I was much younger, and I've been playing again. And I really love that. I'm writing again, little poetry here and there, when things are quiet and something hits me. I have several different journals now, and I'm collecting them, and I go back and I read. I journal when I meditate. Sometimes if it's a guided meditation. I love Insight Timer. That's my jam. So if you're on Insight Timer, send me a friend request in there, because I'm always on Insight Timer. It's like my favorite little spot. So I do that, and then I write, and I have a gratitude journal, and then sometimes I just like, I'm the kind of person that all of a sudden I just do flow writing and let whatever spills out. And sometimes, I can look back and say, wow, those words are kind of cool. I like that. So anyways, I started doing all of these things that had stopped. And a lot of my creativity had literally stopped. I used to write a lot, and then it stopped right around the time that Daniel was a baby and everything started getting really, really hard. And that is also kind of when my whole identity crisis began, realizing, what I was going to be dealing with as a mother. It was kind of a big, weird kind of like gap in my self-actualization, I guess. But so for 2023. Oh, here it is. I want to use the Adapted Life podcast to continue as a creative gallery, as a place for stories, ideas, sharing again more tools, tips, anything that comes up as something that can help us caregivers. Word stories, poems, topics related to being a caregiver, like I said, and it's an open kind of a place where I just want people to feel like this is a community for those of us who are on this journey of always being attentive and hypervigilant to the needs of another human being. I mean, always, I mean always, 24 hours a day, I'm attending to the needs of my son. Even when I'm here, I'm in a beautiful little podcast room that I made above his bedroom. So it is what it is. I have to be present. So, yeah, so it is a big deal. Adapting, changing your entire life to care for someone who couldn't otherwise keep themselves alive. The emotional upheaval in our own psychology, well, whatever each of us chooses it to be, is very interesting. The fighting, the advocacy, we special needs parents, we have to deal with so much crap that it is so easy and surprisingly almost impossible not to slide into this cynicism and this sarcasm of how broken our country's social structure is for the disabled and the medically complex. It's incredible, but there are not enough services and programs, and there's not enough awareness of what it is like to do what we are doing, and changing and sacrificing and giving our life to take care of this person. I never attended one single IEP meeting when Daniel was in school without leaving riddled with anxiety, frustration, confusion, just like, it was always just really negative and heavy. And now, even now, my battle is with my son's nursing care. They're supposed to provide him with 100 hours of nursing care, and we don't even get 40 if we're lucky. And the approval's there, and they say, well, he can have this benefit. He has this plan. But it never follows through because there's not enough caregivers or a shortage or whatever. And you have to use only one agency to manage all of his care. That's the state's rules. And they can't. And it's the same with all of the agencies. Or you try to switch, but then you call the ones on the list that they give you, and they say, well, we're sorry, they're not accepting new patients at this time. So it's very hard to get additional care because you have to use one little channel, and that channel has clogs, so it's like, ugh. And it seems like nobody is monitoring it. And in the meantime, there's a lot of people like me who are not working when they could be in the workforce. So they might have had, accelerated careers and been able to contribute to the world, but they can't because they can't get enough help on the other end of it. And then you feel like, again, that someone just doesn't care. So anyway, I'm dealing with just trying to advocate a little bit on that. And I've done it in the past and it's never gone anywhere, but I don't know. I just like to get my voice heard sometimes. We do have a catastrophic crisis of care in this country for millions of people like my son, other disabled adults, people who senior citizens. They're sitting there and then their health doesn't show up that day, and it's like, well, now what, right? It's really frustrating just to think about it. And I mean, I cannot tell you one single person that I've talked to in all of my support groups of other families and other moms who are getting all the care that they're supposed to. If you hear some noise in the background, I'm going to really not worry about it or edit it out because that's my Henry. And he's I don't know. Whenever I talk, Henry acts up. This is a behavior we're dealing with lately. Come here. Okay. Henry, you need to wait. I'm almost done. Anyways. So here we are. Oh, in family relationships. And dogs. Dogs that start barking every time you talk are not real good companions to have in the room when you're doing a podcast. I'm gonna let it go for a minute. Hold on. I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on. I gotta let him outside. He's being a real jerk. He's like, I'm sitting here talking. He's under my feet shredding paper. Please hold. Okay. I am ever determined to finish this page and a half of my outline because I know I won't be able to get back up here and finish it. So here I am, So I was talking about just family relationships that are hard, even without the stress of being caregivers. Take 3. It just banished the dogs. So family relationships, even without the stress of caregiving, are, difficult sometimes to begin with, right? But you add in what I call the tossed salad of your trauma, your isolation, financial struggle, dealing with just incredible medical issues and things you have to juggle. And then you already have the fuel for exploding marriages and families into a giant big mess because it's very stressful. And it's hard to manage the emotional upheaval that happens in all the different given scenarios. And then, that's just kind of how it is. And you try to find tools to cope, which is what I did, but not always, right? So anyhow, hello again, everyone. My name is Julie. I have a son named Daniel. I am his mom. I manage his life. He is my little hero. His smiles, his laughter, his nonverbal communication is something that I don't even know how to describe it because he communicates with me in a very unique, magical kind of way. You got to just see it. I mean, he's just a really, really cool dude. So my vision for a podcast is to create a place where someone else can resonate with my life and feel less alone. And there's more. And as I start into this new year, 2023, I'm going to try to learn how to do interviews and find ways to bring some of you onto the podcast or bring other people onto the podcast. And and again, I have to stress in my adapted life, I do record and edit and work in my home in my podcast office, which is above Daniel's room. So there are sounds in the background. It just is what it is. And my dog is being a bit of a butt today. So as I start into the new year, I'm going to try to take my hint. As I start into this new year, I'm going to try my hand at talking with some of you on the podcast, getting some interesting people to speak to you on the podcast, connecting community, sharing our stories, helping each other, putting things out there, just laughing. Let's just lighten it up a little bit. Self-care ideas, whatever we can share with each other to help each other feel just a little tiny bit even less alone. That would be really, really exciting for me. Coming up with new pathways to allow our crazy ride to follow. I'm just so grateful to be here, and I'm so grateful that there are people out there like me, and I'm proud of myself for getting these little fingers to type the words that I type and my voice to find a way to be shared with the universe. Sometimes it's wobbly when you're not a professional, but it is real, and we are real, and that is all that we need, really, is just real human beings connecting. And somewhere inside my soul, it just feels right. Like my intuition is telling me that I need to keep following this journey. And I'm going to end this podcast episode 1, season 2023, or season 2. That's what I'll call it. With just a little poem kind of thing. And these are, I have journals and journals and journals of them, but I just wanted to read to you one poem. And yeah, it is written on a day that I was sitting in the morning doing my meditation, and I had finished, and it was just a real serene kind of a day where I was sitting in my chair and the dog was sleeping on my lap, and I had finished listening to probably a guided meditation. And usually that's when I kind of step into the next phase of my morning. And I'm going to read you this poem. And then I'm going to end the episode. And I'm very excited to see what else is going to come along the way. And hold on. How is this going to come out? I don't know. I'm going to have to re-edit the whole. Okay, so Before He Wakes, May 20, 2022. Place my journal and pen down. My morning needs my attention. As I wriggle free of the dog on my lap, I hear a voice, that voice without structure or words, summoning me to help him. The day is awake, and I step into my role as mom, as caregiver, as everything. Having submersed myself in morning ritual, I feel the effects of my coffee. I start to move into the dance of time like a cadence, and I fight against it with my own rhythm. His voice is deep, not a child's anymore. His laughter from a place in his heart. He knows joy. Move now. The pain in my body resists my action. I lovingly tell myself, go, care for my beautiful son, and also for my own soul. It is going to be okay today. Turn off his security camera. Turn off the alarm from his pump. I say, good morning, Daniel. Let's do this. Happy New Year. See you next time.